Hey guys, I just wanted to show you this, how I edit this photo. I was at the beach at sunrise the other day and took a decent amount of pictures. I don't know these kids, but you can imagine how boring the beach was without them, especially because the sky was a little bland. There was no clouds, but we had a nice sun. So took some pictures while these kids were running around, and I really liked this one because I like how these footprints are leading in. It's like a leading line, and I like how she's lit up in the sun. So I just saw something in this picture, but we need to clean this up and make it good. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start by cropping this, and this is going to be for Instagram, and so I'm going to do a 4x5 crop. And if you need to change from horizontal to vertical on your crop, just press the X key on your keyboard, and then I'll change the orientation. Normally I wouldn't necessarily crop first, but I know what I'm doing with this one. I want it vertical, and I don't want to bother getting all these people out, so I'm just going to do that. So now I'm going to straighten the horizon. I always straighten the horizon first when I crop, and I want to get all those footprints in there, but I also want to keep her and the sun are going to be my subject, so I want to keep them right around that point right there. If possible, I always bring that third line right to the horizon, just if it works out. If it doesn't, that's okay, but I think that looks nice. Maybe a few more. I want to get some of the water as well, so I think that looks like a nice crop. And yes, we'll go with that. Okay, so already you can see we've cleaned a lot of clutter out of this picture. All right, so now we can get started. First thing I do want to explain, I pretty much always shoot in RAW. This was unfortunately shot in JPEG, as you can see right here. The reason is I shot an event the night before, and I needed those pictures fast for social media. It wasn't really a big deal, just documenting the whole thing, getting them on social media, so I didn't want to have to do a lot of editing. So I shot the event in JPEG, and then the next morning I went out for sunrise, and I forgot to change it back. So these are JPEGs, but I think it's going to be okay because I got the settings pretty good in camera, so there's not a lot that needs to be saved here. So I think the camera did a decent job on these. And so, all right, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to lift the shadows just a little bit. Normally I'd lift them a lot in pictures, but I don't want that washed out look here. I want that kind of contrasty silhouette, moody thing. Highlights, I'm going to drop down almost all the way. I really want to get that sun glowing, and then contrast to make it even more of like a moody silhouette thing. I don't think we need any more vibrance or saturation. I think the camera did a pretty good job on that. Now I like to have a white point and a black point to make sure I've got enough contrast. So I'm going to bring these whites over just till I see the triangle light up. That means I've got a white point, and the blacks I'm going to bring it to the left just until I see that triangle light up. Okay, so now I like that. I'm going to bump up the exposure just a little bit. I like to err on the side of too bright. You can always darken it up later. Okay, so that's good. So now I'm going to go down and just remove chromatic aberration. That's just in case there's any sort of purple fringing that we find later when we get up close. So I think that's pretty good. Maybe a slight amount of dehaze, just a little bit to kind of, you know, crisp that up a little bit. Okay, I think that's all we need to do in Lightroom. Lightroom, I just kind of, you know, do my basic adjustments. Sometimes that's good enough, but just in this situation, we have some clutter we need to clean. So that's why we're going to go to Photoshop. The other thing is there's really nothing happening in this sky, but I don't really want to put a different sky in or anything like that. I really like this sun. I kind of like the clean sky. I just think it needs something else. And I had looked through these and saw that literally a few minutes later, 2 minutes later in a shot, this bird flew by, and so I really like him. So I'm actually going to, you know, you can call this whatever you want. You can call it cheating, whatever you want. But in my mind, I took the picture of the bird, and he just flew by 2 minutes too late. So he's just, he was late. So that's not really my fault. So we're gonna put this bird in that picture. So in order to do that, I'm going to crop this, straighten the horizon just to make this all really super realistic and the same. But I'm going to crop in real tight because I don't need anything else. I'm going to do this unlock so it doesn't hold me to this aspect ratio. And I'm just going to do that. I'm going to bring both birds just in case, because I don't know if I'll want both or one. I'll just do it like that. Okay, so... and I'm leaving the sun just so we can have a way to line it up. Okay, so I just cropped that. Only thing I'm going to do to this is remove chromatic aberration just in case there's any fringing around this bird. And then maybe a little contrast just to make that bird stand out just a little bit more. Okay. Now we're going to take these into Photoshop. We're going to clean up the clutter. We're going to add in the bird, and then we'll be done. So Control to select the other one with this. So now I've got those two selected. Right click, edit in, and I'm going to open it as layers in Photoshop. Now, if you just were to open these one by one in Photoshop, that would work fine too. But because you could just move one over, but it's just going to be faster to open them together since I know that I am layering them. And okay, so here we go. We have it. We have this open. In order to scroll in and out on Photoshop, I use the wheel on my mouse. It's somewhere in the settings to put that where you can zoom in and out using that, but it's really, I find it really, really helpful. Okay, so I'm going to flip these around. It usually works better. Just hold and drag this with my mouse key. It usually works better to have the thing I'm overlaying on top there. Okay, so I'm going to take this off for now. We're not going to worry about that bird right now. We're just going to work on this. When you click these, I guess they're like eyeballs, that makes it visible and not. So we're not going to deal with that right now. We're just working on this. Now it's usually best to duplicate your background so that you can do some non-destructive editing, and because then I can always throw away the layer if I don't like what I've done. So I'm going to do Control J. So now I've got the original and I've got a copy. So I'm going to work on the copy, and then we can see later if we like everything. Okay, so main tool I use here is this spot healing brush tool in Photoshop. If you click these little arrows, there's going to be other options, but I use the spot healing brush tool the most with the content aware, and because it's just a really good thing to just clean up. You just highlight what you want to get rid of and it gets rid of it. Now you want the brush, and also to make this brush bigger and smaller is the bracket keys on your keyboard. So, and space bar and click and drag to move your photo around like I just did. Okay, so you want the healing brush to be just big enough where you want to cover the object but not overdo it, but don't come short of him. Like this cone, we want to completely get the cone painted. Otherwise it can get a little messy. Okay, so we're just cleaning up some spots. Most of these footprints are okay. This one right here to me is a little distracting. And if you ever don't like what you just did, you can just go here and go back one. So it's pretty easy to go back. Okay, so looking good. I don't like this person. That's not necessary. I always take a lot of clutter out of my photos. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, that's how it was in real life. Well, I don't care. This is art. This is how it was in real life too. Those other things just happen to be in there too. And we don't, that just didn't need to be like that. Okay, so, but either way, I mean, I don't know what people's deal is. Like, this isn't a documentary. This is This is art. I took a picture and now I'm making it even better. Okay, I don't like what I just took out because I feel like that kind of took away from the pathway. So I'm going to put some of that back. Keep going back till... Alright. Oh, no. Take the person out. Okay, that's good. And, okay. So that looks good. And so now I got to decide about these other birds. I feel like they're clutter. And what I always say is if it doesn't add to a photo, it takes away from it. This guy he just blends in too much. He's not helping. So he has to go. This guy is he just looks like a dot. That's a bird in the sky who just, oh gosh, this brother. Okay, this kid's not doing anything for our photo either. He's not as compelling as she is. She's just clearly the subject. He's got to go. So I could use the magic or the spot healing brush on him, but I'm going to use the lasso tool and just see if this works. So I just get the lasso tool and just circle around him. I want to, same thing, I want to completely get him out so that the computer knows what background we're trying to duplicate. So don't clip any of him, but don't go too far out. Okay, so then we've got him selected, edit, fill, make sure it says content aware, and just hit OK and just hope that this works out. Sometimes it does and just sometimes it doesn't. Okay, that did a really good job. So we're good with that. Control D to deselect now. Okay, that's really good. So now I'm going to go back to my healing brush here and just take out a few little spots here, but I'm really happy with that. This bird I still can't decide on. I'm going to leave him for a minute. I'm going to clean up a little more clutter here. And again, don't be afraid, because you can always just go back. If you take something out and you wanted it back in, just go back. Like here, like here, this is just, this umbrella, the top of it, it's just distracting a little bit, but I could take it out, and then if I think, well, that doesn't look good, then I'll just put it back in. But by going, I can just go back. But I don't know, I just think that doesn't need to be there. Maybe I'll take this one out and we'll just pretend there's like a gap in those umbrellas. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that looks good. Wait. That wasn't necessary. Okay, that's good. All right, that is lovely. Now we are actually, no, I don't really need that sign in there. I don't like clutter in my pictures. I like to just keep it I just like, because what it is we want to focus on her. So we don't want anything else distracting from that. And okay, so now I just feel like we need one little thing in the sky, and that is going to be this bird. Okay, so I'm gonna make this selection active. Oh, and just, I'll show you real quick. So now after we've done this, we can just toggle this eyeball on and off to just see what we've cleaned up in our photo. I mean, come on, you can't, there's no reason to keep that all in there. Look how much better that looks. Look how nice that looks. I'm actually going to take that other bird out though. I think he's just, I mean, he's cute, but yeah, okay. So now let's take a look. So all we're doing is we're taking this layer off, and it's showing us what's underneath that we hadn't touched. So, I mean, gosh, that's so much better. Okay. So we're happy with that. Now I just want to add this bird in. Okay, so this is where we need to select this, because this is what we're working on right now. And then I'm going to move that, because I want this to be directly over the sun, right about there. But now the blending mode is wrong, obviously, so I just kind of guess on these. Fireworks, lighten usually works better. Sky replacements, I find multiply to be a good one, but obviously not in this case. I think multiply just kind of like multiplies the two. I don't know. Okay, I think in this case darken is going to be what we want. Yes. Okay. So, and then you can still kind of move this around more, but I really just want that sun to line up. Okay, that looks right. All right, that looks good. I really like that bird in there. The reason I wanted the sun to line up is just because the way the sun's hitting his wing, I just think it'd be a little unrealistic to put him up there, even if we took that out, because it's just, you can tell he's being kind of like burned by the sun a little bit. So we just want it to be exactly the same. Okay, and then I kept this bird in before because I wanted to think about that, but I don't like him right there at the edge of the frame. To get him out, all I'm going to do is going to add a layer mask. When you add a layer mask, don't worry too much about this if this is too complicated, but it's super easy once you get the hang of it. But basically, anything white is going to make this show through, and if I paint black on anything, it's just not going to show. So I'm going to take my paintbrush and switch my color to black, and I'm just going to paint him out. So basically, if you can see right here, I've painted black over where he is. That can seem really complicated at first, but once you get it, you got it. Okay, so now we're done. Except for one more thing. In Photoshop, when I have a sunset picture, a lot of times I add a warming filter, and that's here in Photo Filter. And there's something about the Photoshop warming filter that's just, I don't know, it just adds a nice glow to everything. And if you're not sure if you like it or not, you can toggle this on and off and just see. But you see, it's taken a lot of that blue out of the sand, and for some reason it just often has a nice effect. That's nice, but that's a little warmer. And then here's the density. You could even bring it down a little bit. I think I'm going to bring it down. So it's just very subtle. So that's off, that's on, and I like that. It's just a little warmer. So all right, I think we're done here. And so now I'm going to save this, and saving it is going to take it right back to Lightroom, and then go back to Lightroom, and there it is. And so if you want to well, we've already seen what we've done in Photoshop, but it's right next to the original is where it puts it. So now we're good. The only other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take an adjustment brush. I don't like to put clarity on the whole image because it makes it a little crunchy, but sometimes if there's any sort of detail I'm trying to bring out, I'll just put in some clarity. In this case, and you can adjust these later, just put in kind of what you think you'll want. Clarity and saturation, because I really want to enhance these pink tones and this pathway. That's kind of the point of everything. So I'm just painting here with my clarity and my saturation, and the way that works is just only going to affect the areas that you paint. Okay, so there we go. So, and you can hover over this and it's going to show where you painted. Okay, so I think that's good. Let me try a little more saturation just to really get the glow of the sun, a little less clarity, and I think that's good. Okay, so now I'm going to click done. All right, so I think this photo looks good. The last thing that I'm looking at my histogram. I still need a black point there, so I'm going to go down a little bit, and I think that's good. Okay, last thing I'm going to do is add some sharpening. Not a lot. You got to be a little more careful on JPEGs than you do on when it was originally a JPEG. For some reason, this stuff comes across a little more intense. Okay, so I'm going to just sharpen about to there. Masking just masks some of the sharpening, so you're not sharpening noise if there is any in dark areas. I'll just put that about like right here. Luminance, I love luminance, but I try not to overdo it. So let's just do about that. Luminance just smooths it out, it just makes everything smooth. That's a big part of my style, is the luminance. Okay, so, but it's not everybody's style. A lot of people hate it. Okay, so there we go. I think I really love this image, and the one we started with was it this one? No, that's a different one, sorry. Okay, no, it's this one. So we've really done a lot to fix that up. I think it looks way better. I think we've taken just a kind of average snapshot and turned it into something a little bit artistic and a little more meaningful. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been helpful. I know this stuff is so confusing, but if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask. I'll answer anything I can. Just let me know if you need any help. All right, thanks for watching.